Today, as we continue through the first letter of Peter, our verse for the day comes from chapter 2, verse 16, and it's a verse about freedom and how you are to use it. As servants of God, live as free people, yet do not use your freedom as a pretext for evil. This verse comes in a section that is about how do we live as servants of God. It even talks about the importance of honoring the emperor, and it's really interesting in the New Testament that you have very different views of the political authorities, and it's often humorous almost to see how this is reflected in people's political feelings. For example, if your political party's person is in the White House, then people tend to say, well, remember, we've got to honor the emperor. That's what it says in 1 Peter. But if it's the other party's person who's in the White House, then people often tend to take a view more like the view that John has in Revelation, which is that those who are in authority are at that point the instruments of Satan, because in Revelation, the Emperor Domitian was putting Christians under persecution. And it's often interesting in America to watch how people's feelings about the government and the presidency swing from 1 Peter's feeling, which is also Paul's feeling about respecting those in authority and praying for them and being a good citizen, to John's feeling in Revelation. But in either case, 1 Peter says, you are to live as a free person, but don't use your freedom as a pretext for evil, to do wrong. We are to use the freedom that we have to live fully as God's servants in the way that God instructs us to live. And so in this passage in 1 Peter, you can think of someone from history like a Dietrich Bonhoeffer in Germany, in Nazi Germany during the Second World War. And you could say, well, Peter says, accept the authority of every human institution, whether of the emperor as supreme or of governors. But there's also a time when we do have to say that our faith and our conscience regarding the behavior of people in leadership leads us not to accept that authority. That was certainly the case in Nazi Germany. And so it takes real wisdom and discernment, and you want to make sure you're making decisions based on truth and not based on lies or falsehoods. So living as free people, it's not always simple. It really takes prayer and good thought, because we want to live freely as God calls us to live, in a way that honors God and glorifies the Lord.